In this video, we'll go through the diagnosis and fix of one of the most common causes of a high-speed vibration in a Subaru. We'll show how to swap out front control arms and stabilizer links and bushings. And we'll overcome a couple of surprise complications. Listen to this high-speed vibration. It sounds like you're going over a washboard surface on the highway. We were 1,000 miles from my tools on a road trip at the time, so I started with a wheel balance that was entirely normal. When we got home, I had a look underneath. Tightening that sway bar link actually made things worse. Okay, have a look at this. If you scan through the nut, you'll find that vibration at highway speed is typically caused by loosening and decay of one bushing of the Subaru control arm. This is it. See that movement? So you've got two choices. You could either replace individual bushings, this is one here, this is an old one, or you can replace the whole control arm. And in the DIY hands, the whole control arm is far more economical. If you do want to press these out, then you need to press out right in this groove right here. So this side is the bushing and this side is the metal. And so it's very minimal metal you've got to work with. It's barely a millimeter or so on either side. And so the right size press for this is about 60 millimeters. And then for this side is about 36. But most of us just replace the whole control arm, even in the situation of professionals. All right, let's have a look at the most difficult part of this whole job. This is the sway bar, also known as the stabilizer bar, and these are the sway bar links. And we got to get these off because this is the control arm that we're going to remove. Now, when this was new, they would put an 8mm Allen in right here and hold the shaft and then spin the nut off. You can't hold it at this end because it's a ball, it just spins. Now, the problem is that you put an 8mm shaft in here, it's just going to strip out. And that's what I've done. Now the second option is to use vice grips, and you squeeze the shaft here with the vice grips and put your power tools on here and try and spin it off. That doesn't work either. And so we're going to call on Victor for the rescue. Now in preparation for that, I've got a metal heat shield against the CV axle to prevent that from getting damaged. And the boot of the ball joint needs to be protected as well. And so I've got a heat blanket there. Let's get started. Okay, we need to loosen off this ball joint nut. So I've taken the castle nut, I've taken the cotter key out, put it on upside down. Lots of ways you can do this. You can take this block of wood and bang down on this. That's easy enough, or you can use a Pitman iron puller. I'm going to use a puller here. You could use a pickle fork if you're not worried about damaging the boot of the ball joint. But let's just see what we can do with this. I switched to a Pitman arm puller because the other one was sliding off, and I didn't get it on camera, but it's released now. This tool for the win. Okay, here's the control arm on the bench, and have a look at this. Listen to this. Hear that? That's the sound we were getting. And this other one is dried and cracked and needs to be replaced as well. Now this is all trash, and so I didn't need to remove this last sway bar link because it's going to the recycling depot. I just had to cut it right here. All right, a wise man once said to me, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're faced with the decision. The new control arm comes with a ball joint, but this ball joint is perfectly good. So why not swap out the old joint, which has got a couple of 100,000 kilometers on it, for the new one? Well, the problem is this pinch bolt right here. This is threaded into the knuckle. There are threads on this side. And when you undo this about 1 time in 10, this thing snaps off. And when it does, you create a whole world of problems. In my situation, I'm happy with how this goes. I'm going to keep that spare ball joint for if and when needed, and I'm not going to replace it. This is the new ball joint here. Okay, it's time to put the new control arm into place. I found a way to make this easy. I'm going to put this one in first, then this one, and then that one's going to be last. Okay, here's where I am so far. Got the ball joint castle nut just loosely done up right there. And then on this side, it was a little bit reluctant to go in, and so I just put the jack underneath and gently pushed it up. Now you got to be careful not to lift it off the jack stands, but this will be fine. So now I'll slide that nut on, and then we'll do the third one. I don't know if you can see it, but the third one's right there, and it's not fitting quite right. It's too far to the rear, and that's why it doesn't slide in there. Now there are three things you can do to fix that. One is you can turn the steering wheel, and I'm going to turn the steering wheel far to the left and see if that improves. Secondly, you can jack up under the control arm underneath the ball joint and lift it up a little bit, and that may pull it into place. And then the third thing is to use a C-clamp like this, and you clamp between the sway bar and the control arm, and that'll help to pull it one way or the other. It's getting there. You see how the C-clamp is pulling it in? Oh yeah. I don't want to mislead you. I'm not completely sure that installing this bushing last is the right approach. The conventional way of doing this is to do these two bushings first and then do the ball joint last, jacking the knuckle up or down or prying up or down with the control arm to get things into place. I'd be interested in what you guys have to say about that. Here's something about the brace for the sway bar bushings. It's not quite symmetrical. You see there's kind of a long end here, and it's short there. Do you follow what I mean? The tab is longer on this side than on that side. These are the torque specs from my dealer's repair manual. So to do the final torquing under load, I don't have ramps, and so I'm going to use two jacks, one under each control arm, pushing up, but I've still got a little bit of weight under the jack stands just for safety. This torquing under load is particularly important for ball joint, that particular bolt for the control arm, and of course the sway bar bushings as well. So I'll get at that now. Oh gee, look at this. Literally the last bolt I was torquing, and I snapped that bolt off. I was trying to suck this in tight, but I just overdid it. It was totally my fault. This is a bolt with a head that's welded into the top, and I'm worried about the steering here. My first thought was to weld it, but I don't want to overheat the bushing. I'm thinking that I'll just drill out this bolt and put in a proper bolt. I'll have to put some kind of metal protection for the steering arm here. Okay, so I took a bigger drill bit to properly center this over the bolt. And the good news is that it feels like fairly soft metal. So now I've got a good centering hole. So I'll put a small drill in here, put on my shield for the boot there so I don't damage that as I come through. It's nice to have a garage that's fairly flat. This is left to right. So I've taken it for a test spin, and that vibration is clearly gone, and all the clunking is gone as well. At this point, the best thing to do is to take it for an alignment. I've got a little camber adjustment tool just to see if we're in the right ballpark right here. And this is a perfectly vertical surface, and I've adjusted the bubble, I don't know if you can see it here, exactly 0 degrees. Trust me, that's about 0 degrees, just based on the parallax of your view. And now let's see what it is on the wheel. So this little magnet thing goes right on the brake rotor, and you need to make sure you're not on a rust line. And you want to get it perfectly flat with this bubble here. That looks pretty good. And you can see there, I'm at negative camber, I would say about negative 0.6. Now the target is between 0 and minus 1.5, so we're within spec on that. And I've done the right side as well, and that's almost identical. So it's good enough for now. It's not as good as a standard alignment, but it's good enough for the time being. If you're preparing to do this job yourself, one thing you should really consider is, on top of getting the control arms, you should think about getting sway bar links and nuts as well. I think you'll see from the video that if you don't have the nuts on hand, your car could be disabled until you're waiting for more parts, and of course you're waiting to pay more for shipping if you're getting it from elsewhere. Well, that's pretty much it. There are lots of really good videos showing how to do this on a fastener by fastener description, but they don't show you the complications, and complications happen a lot more often than you would think. I love my cutting torch Victor, and it got me out of trouble here, but even if you don't have one, you can do something else with, say, some propane just to heat up the nut and try and spin it off that way. If you don't have a Pitman arm puller, you can use a block of wood and a hammer. There are ways around it. So don't feel that you need to have all the fancy tools to be able to get a job like this done. On the other hand, you should be aware of the fact that broken bolts happen, and you need to prepare yourself for what you're going to do if that happens in your case. So I hope this video helped you out. Thanks for watching.